YouTube. There we go. That should do the trick. Okay. Good evening, everybody. It's 9:30 on the East Coast, 6:30 on the West Coast on a Monday. That must mean it's time for your semi-weekly Calamity Jane live stream. James, how are you doing on this late winter evening?
I'm doing great. Anybody who has come across our stream, welcome. This is where Eric and I hang out, and this is our clubhouse where we talk about games, animation, and our cartoon, where I animate live and then Eric and I nerd out. On my side, things are just great. Weather's fine in LA. Just kind of plugging away on stuff. I can kind of go into share mode and I'll start talking about what we'll work on tonight, and then there's plenty to talk about tonight, so
yeah, for sure.
I got stuff to talk about.
All right, excellent. Well, since I usually hijack the conversation, why don't we start with you once you reveal the work for the evening?
Okay, all right, sharing my screen. I think you've recognized this cutesy little character from the Calamity Jane universe. So way back when we had Sally designed, I went through and did some designs on her to get her prepped for one of these days when I was going to animate her in a scene. And lo and behold, we're kind of at that point where we have Sally offering vittles to Calamity Jane. We're kind of been in this world where Jane and Jane will sample and go crazy for them. Well, and really thoroughly enjoy them. So I'm going to put Sally in the scene tonight to kind of get her her keyframe poses in here tonight while we kind of hang out.
Cool. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, what's on your mind for the evening, James?
Yeah, normally I like to kind of have Eric fly the ship for our combos for a lot. On my side, I like to defer and we go back and forth and play peanut gallery. But man, last week I had a whole thing ready to go about talking about Adobe Animate and the stupid Adobe company and the corporatocracy that is Adobe.
Yeah.
On the day of when we're supposed to do our last stream, side note, I mean, Eric, I don't, there's plenty to go with, but I mean, I'm sure there's a new little puppy running around over by you. So
yeah, he's currently
he stole
sleeping,
the show last week.
Yeah.
So so Eric was Eric and Katie were kind of getting used to life with a puppy. That's always fun.
Indeed.
So we kind of so we held off on streaming last week, but for me, that was what I was going to talk about, and I'll talk about this week too. Is Adobe decided to pretty much terminate Adobe animate for a little while.
Yeah.
And then the next day, they got so much flack for that and so much, you know, negative aura from that they said, "Oh well, we're just kidding. We're just going to keep it around forever and put it in maintenance mode." Unbelievable, man. I
Mm-hmm.
just, yeah.
Well, it
So yeah,
just, yeah, it was a little bit shocking to hear that news, given how many video games and cartoons still use animate for their
yes.
products. And I'm like, why would you? This it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But oh well, yeah.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, they've already been Adobe's already been they've kind of increased their prices on top of that for subscription stuff.
I just got notice. I
And
canceled my Creative Cloud subscription because they raised the price to $70 a month, and
yeah, it's ridiculous.
nothing is worth that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing's worth that. $70 a month per, like, you know, and then considering that they can pretty much hold you hostage and
Mm-hmm.
decide on a whim to cancel a product on you.
Mm-hmm.
It's There's nothing good to be said about Adobe anymore. I mean, I know a lot of people like Photoshop, and it is an incredible
Yeah.
piece of software. Not worth $70 a month.
No.
Um,
Well, I mean, further
so
too, like when you get to lock in that $70 price, you have to basically sign in a contract for an entire year. Meanwhile, they can
yeah,
cancel their products whenever they want to, right?
yeah,
And if you want to cancel your subscription earlier, then you have to pay some sort of obnoxious fee for early cancellation. Now, I got lucky. My renewal wasn't until February 8th. And they sent me an email on the 5th letting me know that my subscription was going to increase to $70 a month.
hmm
And so I was like, oh crap. So I immediately got on Creative Cloud. And then, of course, they do a very good job of hiding where the cancellation button is. And then you have to go through 12 screens. Are you sure you want to cancel your subscription? It's absolutely obnoxious. Um, but I did, in fact, successfully cancel it with 2 days to spare. And I'm currently in the progress of like trying to find alternatives, for video editing, maybe DaVinci or Vegas, and audio be
hmm
something like Audacity. Photoshop would be Affinity. It's not as obviously like having all of Adobe's stuff integrating with each other was super convenient. Being able to take an After Effects project and just import it seamlessly into
yeah,
Premiere and vice versa. All of that stuff is super valuable, but not $70 a month valuable. I mean that's almost $1,000 a year. I mean, nothing. Very few things are worth that much money.
hmm
Um, and so I'm just not playing this game anymore. I'll find a way to do without. They've priced me out, and that's fine. And they clearly don't really care about individual users.
hmm
And that's whatever.
yeah, 100% in agreement here. No, I mean, like I said, as much as I enjoy back and forth with you on some stuff, this one I think you and I are complete lockstep.
Mm-hmm.
And what's even, just small little side notes thing, like even Adobe's social media account, they got one of their evangelists to apologize on behalf of corporate greed of
Yeah.
some other higher up, some
Yeah.
C-suite guy or woman that decided to this needed to happen, and then they get one of their fanboys or people that are really passionate about the Adobe stuff to go out and say, "Oh, I'm sorry. Well, it wasn't your fault. We know that you weren't the one that did it.
Right.
It's
Right.
your
Right.
higher ups that did it." But yet here you are taking arrows and no, well, I don't know. I'm not on social media that much to know if he was taking any arrows. Hopefully he wasn't because he wasn't the one that made that call. It was Adobe higher ups that did.
Mm-hmm.
But I've already thought about alternatives. It's sad, like Adobe, I built my career with Adobe. Like, when I met you at Warner Brothers, I was doing Adobe Animate stuff there, and at that time it was Adobe, it was Flash, and then it became Animate later. But I have 25 plus, no, actually 30 years. I mean, I used it as Macromedia Flash 4s when I first started with
Oh
it,
wow.
off of
Wow.
a recommendation from a person on eBay who was telling me about some 3D software that I bought off of her. So it's probably the best career advice I ever got. But she told me, hey, just learn Macromedia Flash and then see if you can get into games that way. And it worked. But yeah, 30, and that was in 96 or something like that is when I learned it. So roughly 30 years later, here we are. But now it's just sad for me, it's sad that I have to even say that I can't subscribe to this company anymore. I'm not
Right.
I can't I'm not going to give money to terrible decision making. I just refuse to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
So as we keep doing our stream to kind of wrap up episode 1 and into the future with other stuff, I'm going to be slowly migrating my Adobe stuff over to Moho Pro. That's where I've decided to go for animation purposes. And as far as 2D stuff like a Photoshop Ultra, there's plenty out there. There's I'm sorry, not Inkscape, but GIMP. It's not as good, but for what we do,
I've used GIMP.
It's not that big of a deal. Yeah. There's even an online version of Photoshop called Photop. I think photop.com. There's that one. And then for vector stuff, there's Inkscape, and then also Moho has its own vector stuff. And then, like you were saying, even for video editing and stuff like that, yeah, there's plenty of other ones to try these days. And I'm not gonna, as much as I like Adobe After Effects, I'm not gonna miss it nearly as much as Animate.
I mean, I didn't really use After Effects that much anyway, right? It was only for very special niche things that I needed to work on, but I could just not do those niche things, right? So it's not really anything lost. It's a little polish maybe here or there, but it's not $70 a month worth of polish. So
yeah,
it's a shame. And I guess I don't know, like, is it just that we've broken the law of supply and demand, and that there's just too many people that these corporations can take advantage of, that they're not price sensitive anymore? Like, I don't get it, like.
That's true. Yeah. I don't know what it is either. I was kind of thinking the same thing. Like, when did they get to a point where they were so arrogant that they can just do customers not matter anymore, right? That's kind of what you're asking.
Right. At what point, did it not matter that you're right, you don't want to alienate your audience? Like, their user base is so large now that they're immune to price sensitivities, right? And I don't know how that changes. I mean, I honestly I don't understand. I just don't understand how our economy is functioning right now. I guess is my answer.
Feels rickety rackety, but I don't know either. I'm with you. I don't know. It just feels kind of, again, rickety rackety and kind of strange right now. But I do know that there are companies that seem to be more, that are actually passionate about stuff, and seem to, at least on the surface, seem to care about people that use their stuff. So Moho Pro, everything I've seen about them is nothing but positive stuff. Now, is it getting new muscle memory and learning new stuff? Yeah, it sucks. Like, I'm not gonna, my 30 years worth of memories of, like, even making Sally do stuff here. Like, I mean, I'm barely barely getting underway, but there's so many things I've already done with, like, swapping symbols like that. I don't know where Moho's going to be with that, but I guess we'll go on that journey together, and you'll hear me cuss a lot on the way. But yeah, I don't know what the plan is. Like if they have, I think that because of the backlash, I think they do have there is some sense of, like, worry. There's a reason why they came out 24 hours and said something. It's not exactly a 1-to-1, but it reminds me of the Unity thing that happened last year, roughly, where they wanted to charge people per install, and people, the backlash was quick. It took them a week and a half to kind of come back from that, and at least bounce back and apologize. But Adobe really did snap out of it after one day. But I think the damage is done. At least for me, it is. I tell anybody that's coming up and up now, don't bother with Adobe, because they're going to yank it. They're going to yank the carpet from underneath you. Why would you want that?
I'm just waiting for, like, just like the Blender equivalent to show up.
Yeah.
Right? Blender is an absolute game changer, and for 3D modeling. I mean, and it's all encompassing, right? It even has a nonlinear video editing tool, even though it's insanely clunky. But, like, it is becoming sort of this all-in-one product where it's all integrated into the same thing. You've got sculpting, you've got modeling, you've got animation support, video editing, both 2D and 3D. Um, it's a pretty remarkable piece of software, and it's pretty crazy that it functions entirely on donations still.
Hmm.
Um, I guess my fear is I've just become such a pessimist. Is how long until Blender goes corporate, right? How long until they remove "do no harm" from their mission statement? You know what I mean? Like the classic sort of Google.
Yeah,
Like at what
Google
point?
things well known for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because it seems like it
I
always happens anymore, right? Like
yeah.
Google used to be one of the like the go-tos where you could go and be confident in their products and et cetera, et cetera. And now Google is just like yet another dinosaur that we use because there's just no other better alternative yet, or one that's as, convenient, I guess. Um, you know, better or convenient either way, but it's just like we're still stuck under their umbrella. It's another company that's so large that it just doesn't seem to be uh, sensitive to prices anymore. You know.
Yeah. I think with Google, yeah, I don't know what the answer is for Google just yet. I myself, I mean, again, part of my whole thing is I've been trying to get off of Google a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They had great products that seduced me way back in the early
Mm-hmm.
aughts and
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
And then
Sure.
and now it's part of legacy, right? Like I have Gmail account. I think you and I
Yep.
keep in touch through Gmail account. So,
Yep.
but I've been using DuckDuckGo and Brave for my browser alternatives. When I got a new computer, I haven't even opened Chrome yet.
Mm-hmm.
I've just gone right to Brave, open new tabs, and I haven't really missed the beat yet. But I know there's gonna be something here or there that'll probably catch up to me. But I'm waiting for that. But I've had it now for about a month or two, and I still haven't seen any real quality of life stuff diminish on me just yet. But again, jury's still out. I'm sure it'll happen soon enough, and I'll miss Google. But so far, I haven't. So I'm really happy about that. But I do recommend Brave or DuckDuckGo. They have their own search, and
Yeah.
it does everything I want it to do for the most part.
I'll be
Um,
honest. Like DuckDuckGo, it just is hard to say, and I don't. It's just like
oh yeah,
it's
yeah,
just a bad name that turns me off. And I've used
sure.
DuckDuckGo, and it seems fine. It seems like it's better than Edge, but that's like a really low bar. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I placed it somewhere around the uh, I mean, not Edge, Bing.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because
Yeah,
wait, is
it's not saying
DuckDuckGo's
much.
a search engine, right? Or is it?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I didn't mean to
It's
say
also a
Edge. I meant
browser.
Bing. Oh, it is. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have their own browser too, and as well as Brave. I don't use Bing. I think Bing is lowest of the low.
Yeah.
I'll go with Chrome or Google over that. But
Still, yeah, yeah.
yeah. But Brave and DuckDuckGo, I've used both of them.
See, that's what I'm saying. See how hard it is to say duck.
Yeah,
It's just
sure.
like
I
it's like
totally
ugh.
agree with you on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I know.
Yeah,
I know
but
that
Brave's not that
sounds
bad.
superficial, but
It's okay. Yeah, it makes sense. But Brave is easy. I
hmm
mean,
yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, I didn't know about it.
uh
I'll look it up and see because yeah,
yeah, curious if you go with it.
same. Like I would love to have better alternatives. When I was in Ireland, Apple Maps actually worked better in Ireland than Google did. And so
That's
I
hilarious.
ended up using Apple Maps the entire time I was in Ireland. But then when I came back here, I tried using Apple Maps, and it
Hmm.
sucks. It was
Yeah.
terrible. And as frustrating as Google Maps can be, it's still the much better product than Apple Maps is, and so I still use it, right? And that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like Google, I still like Google Maps. It's actually one of their
Hmm.
services that I still really like. And Gmail, and Google Calendar, all three of those things I like. But their search is awful because their entire first page now is basically just sponsored links, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and you don't ever want to click on those because they've shown time and time again that scammers will buy ad space, and get on the sponsored links. I mean, that's how so
Hmm.
many old people get scammed is they Google a term, click on the first sponsored link they see, not realizing that it's actually a scam site, right? I mean, like this is anyway. So yeah, Google search is terrible. right? Um, uh, but it is still better than Bing. Now,
Hmm.
I've
Yeah.
used DuckDuckGo and it's okay. It's
Yeah.
not like Google still.
Yeah.
The
Hmm.
search results. Now, I do like that it doesn't has, um, but Chrome is a bloated mess. But like Edge
Hmm.
is also a bloated mess, and Firefox is okay. Again, it's
Hmm.
okay, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like there really isn't as frustrating as it is to continue to use these products that I guess because I've used them for so long, I knew what the quality used to be and kind of what it's become. Like they've made huge advancements, but the rot and the fat and
Yeah.
the it's grown so much faster than the quality of the products have grown, right? But
Hmm.
so it's just like, well, which marginally acceptable product am I going to use, right? Am I going to use DuckDuckGo and sacrifice the core quality that is still there in some of Google's stuff, or do I suffer through Google's horribleness? And right now, at least, I've still decided to suffer through Google's horribleness. But I'm not happy using their products. They don't work as I think that they should, but
Hmm.
I don't really see any great alternatives right now.
Yeah. I wish I could. So the way I've been doing my searches lately is I'll use DuckDuckGo or Brave right off the
Mm-hmm.
bat, and if I don't like the results, then I default to Google as the course corrector of sorts. Um, and that's been good for me. But again, your mileage and taste vary, per person that uses it. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how in depth you probably do more in depth searching than I do. I'll just look up basketball scores, for example,
Yeah,
something
I
like
mean,
that. I don't really,
not as much as it used to be. Not yeah. I
yeah,
mean, yeah.
yeah. But and then it's always superficial stuff that I look for, like technology, some computer stuff, whatever, and I'll do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then by that time, I know which websites to go to kind of go down the rabbit hole, like Tom's Hardware to compare a computer. I don't need Google for that as much. So I guess it just depends on your taste, but
Yeah.
I do go back to Google to course correct if I feel like I'm not getting what I want. But
Right.
I gotta tell you, the clutter, it's worth it just to use DuckDuckGo or a Brave because
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing the sponsored link crap and everything.
Yeah.
I'm over that.
Yeah.
Um,
And the other thing too, I mean, since we're on this soapbox, like,
mhm.
more and more of these sites are like, please turn off your ad blockers to visit the site. And then it's like, okay, I'll try it. And then you turn it off and you literally can't go covered in ads
Yeah.
now. They're functionally unusable. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
surf the internet anymore without an ad blocker. Like it's just
Mhm. Mhm.
everything has gotten it's just like technology has gotten better in so many ways, but the improvement in the technology has also enabled things to get worse in a lot of new and different ways, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's so like, do I want to go back to the days of the internet of 1996? No, absolutely not. But do I want to like have to pay a monthly subscription fee to read a single article? No. Like if maybe you charge me 50 cents or 25 cents to read a single article, like I'm not going to subscribe to the New York Times to read the occasional news story, right? Um
Yeah.
I'm not interested in their opinions page because I don't really like any newspapers opinion pages. Um and so it's like that's a draw for some people, it's not for me. Their news is quality, it's good, but it's not like most news is not news. There's just it's just like, what insane thing is Trump doing today? Well,
Yeah.
I don't need the New York Times for that. I can just look at just
Anywhere.
anywhere, right? Exactly.
Yeah. That's the beauty of the age we live in because you could pick your source and it's going to be there's a myriad of ways to find it.
Yeah. So so it's just like everything is either paywalled or the ads are so aggressive it's not usable without an ad blocker. And it's just I don't know. It's so hard
Yeah.
to to it's so hard to, I guess, I mean, we're I don't know. It's sometimes it feels like it's hard to tell if we're better off with all of this stuff. I mean, this technology is allowing us to do what we're doing, and in fact, we're using YouTube, which is a Google company, to manage the stream, right?
Yeah.
Now, OBS is our middleware to
Hmm.
get the bits on my computer to YouTube, and that's a free software. And OBS is great, and I love it, and I worry every day that it's going to go, you know, the route of Google, but so far it hasn't, and that's great. Um, and so there is obviously value in the technology because it's allowing us to do this, but at the same
Yeah.
time, most of my time that I spend on the internet is not positive anymore.
Really, you don't think so at this point?
No, I mean, I read the news. I have, like you said, I have a few sites that I go to read the news, and that never changes. So I hit those up every
Hmm.
day.
Yeah.
Um, I hate getting on. I mean, social media is a part of my job, so I keep social media accounts, but social media is a dumpster fire, and it's awful, and I hate being on social media. Um, and obviously, like, the problems with Chrome and Google in general, and uh just like my experience with the internet is at best a wash, because for every one piece of value that I get out of it a day, there's one piece of frustration that comes with it as well, right?
Hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't want to lose my smartphone. I don't want to go back to the days of. I mean, like, driving in Atlanta is literally the worst thing I could possibly imagine. And without
Yeah.
Google Maps, driving in Atlanta would literally be impossible, right? I mean, I basically always know where I'm going at this point in the city. I've lived here long enough, and I still use Google Maps at all times, so I know which roads are closed, so I know which roads have accidents on them, so I know what roads are just randomly under construction, even though the dump truck is sitting there and not doing anything. I mean, you literally can't drive in the city without a Maps app at this point, regardless of whether you know where you're going or not.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to reinforce that too. I have a funny story. I was trying to catch up with friends on Friday, and I was
Yeah.
relying on my Google Maps to get me where I needed to go with where the restaurant was at. And I knew I had a vague back, so I
Mm-hmm.
knew the general area of it. But on the way on the 405, and you've been on the
Oh,
405,
plenty of
and
times.
yeah, and on a Friday on the 405, even at 3:30 or 4 o'clock, whatever it is, it's bumper to bumper.
Mm-hmm.
And right then, I'm between exits, and I think I'm on my way to the right exit, but then I'm not sure. Next thing I know, my phone says GPS signal lost. I'm like, no, what are you talking about?
Oh my
I'm in the middle
God.
of cars. I can't get out of this. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? But relying on our technology, I know, and my phone's old. This is really on me. I think my phone's old, so but I knew that it would eventually bounce back. It doesn't really tell you when it gets GPS back. It just says GPS signal lost, and it just lets you go.
Yeah.
I assumed it was going to fix itself. Well, three exits later, I'm realizing it's not telling me anything. I look at my phone, and it hasn't moved, as far as the little, synchronization with
Yeah.
the, oh
Yeah.
man, dude. So I had to get off the next exit. I tried to fire up my Chrome browser or whatever, and then my map, all Google stuff. Tried it up. Oh, it fires up again. The next thing I know, I drive for 5 minutes. You have arrived. Like, no, I haven't. I'm not even there yet. Long story short, I realized at the end of all this, I really need to go back and get the youngins won't know what this is, but a Thomas guide. I think I'm gonna have to keep one handy
Oh, wow.
because
Yeah, just have
my
an
phone,
atlas, basically. Yeah.
yeah, and it's not Google God's fault. I think it's just my phone. The RAM was completely tanked, or the memory in it was
Mm-hmm.
completely just fried from how many tabs I have open in my browser. I don't know,
Who knows?
but a restart fixed everything, and then it was fine. But it really taught me, man. I think I should always have a Thomas guide available just in case of random weird stuff like that, because I lost a good hour. I was
Yeah.
stuck, couldn't get anywhere, couldn't escape. Anyway, so yeah, but I'm super reliant on this on maps, just like you. Like, and it's crazy how one little thing can completely set you back.
Yeah.
It's scary,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I mean,
that's the nature of it, you know.
yep. Yep. I mean, I've been caught in uh situations where I like decided not to use Google Maps. It's like, oh, I know where I'm going. It's a 15-minute
Yeah,
drive. I'm just gonna hop in the car
yeah,
and
yeah,
go.
sure.
Lo and behold, there's an accident on 75 that's blocking all lanes of traffic, and
Oh no.
it takes an hour to clear, and then the traffic of course stops right after an exit, right? On more than one occasion, I have actually backed up and like backed up, you know, as much as a quarter of a mile, honestly, to get into an exit. Because what happens is I turn on Google to see what's going on, discover that and then you're like, oh God, I mean, there's almost every day, at least one of the interstates at some point during the day is completely stopped because of an accident that blocks all lanes of traffic. That's every day in Atlanta, right?
Jeez, man.
Um, you know, um, I'm being, I'm exaggerating, but I'm not being hyperbolic, right? Like
Hmm.
you know, um, and so yeah, I just don't. Yeah, even a 15-minute drive now, I just leave Google on because driving in Atlanta has become so precarious, right?
Yeah, so you're pretty much using it as your not your weather person, but kind of your traffic weather person to
Yeah,
kind of just keep you.
yeah,
But yeah,
exactly.
it makes perfect sense.
So, and I don't want to lose that,
Yeah,
right? Um,
yeah,
but it's just I wish there was. I guess for me, in my mind, the balance should feel like it's 80-20 in terms of good versus shit you have to deal with, right?
uh-huh, yeah,
And right now, I think it's closer to like 50-50. Like I said, for every one thing that I find value in the day of using the internet, there's one thing that's frustrating and makes me hate my life, you know?
yeah,
Um, and that to me is not good, because
yeah.
I can't take my money elsewhere. I mean, I can if I'm willing to. How much am I willing to sacrifice to take my money elsewhere, right? And
But I
that's
think
that's the balance right now.
at least for me, how I rationalize it is you're not going to be able to do a clean cold
No.
turkey break off, but you can reduce the amount of times you're using their product, and even that, even death by a thousand cuts is something. I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, you're not. I don't think we're not talking about ideal. I mean, you can be idealistic if you want and completely cold turkey it, but I mean, at least for me, like I said, I'm just trying to reduce my usage of Google stuff as much as I
Mm-hmm.
can. And for
Mm-hmm.
that, I'm already happy. I'm taking the smaller victories and not the war.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Pick your
but
battles.
I will, yeah, if you pick your battles, but the battles I have picked, I'm very happy with because I was expecting to be freaking out about not using Chrome because I'm so used to Chrome. Like for years, I've been using Chrome.
Yeah.
But um, I think what happened was is once I started kind of using other devices, like even Apple products, and then opening up Safari and ordering a something, and then the only hassle was not having Google Wallet. Okay, that's not a big. It's a luxury, but not a big deal. I mean, I just pull my card out and I can just use it
Mm-hmm.
same way, and it was enough for me to go, okay, I don't need your Chrome, kind of a thing. But Google Maps for sure. Like I don't. There's nothing. It's the superior product, at least in the North America. It sounds like from what you're telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
we used it in Japan, Ethan and I, a few years back, and it was great in
Yeah.
Japan to
Yeah. We used
use.
Google. I used Google Maps in
You know,
Japan as well. Yeah. But I
yeah,
mean,
and
Apple
then of
Maps at,
course,
at that in 2017 was basically worthless. It was no one used Apple
yeah,
Maps, so
yeah. I mean, that's semi encouraging to hear that Apple Maps sounded better for you to use in Ireland. I mean, that's great, but it is another corporate empire thing.
right.
But hey, at least it's competition. I guess there's
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean,
So
and honestly, for me, Apple does hit that 80-20, right? Like there are
okay,
things that I find frustrating about Apple stuff, there's no doubt. But
Mhm.
Most days when I use my iPad or I use my iWatch, Apple Watch, and my phone and my Apple Pencil and all the myriad Apple products, I
Mhm.
rarely, 80% of the time, I'm very happy with my experience with it. When I
Mhm.
have to go into the Apple store, as long as I make an appointment, obviously don't go to the Apple store without an appointment. The the customers are always helpful. I've never left without my problem being solved to my satisfaction. I mean,
That's good.
Apple is a megacorp. There's no question about it.
Mhm.
But my experience as a consumer is that 80/20 threshold that I think is, reasonable as a consumer.
So so the 80/20 is a little abstract for me because it sounds like using a lot of Apple stuff. You got,
Yeah.
and this is not a judgment or anything. I'm just trying to
Yeah. Yeah.
understand it. Like you've got Apple Pencil, you've got your Apple phone.
Yeah.
I mean, that is definitely, I would imagine, 80% of your day because you're using that for interaction and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The
Right.
pencil probably not as much, but right. So is that what you mean by 80/20 or
Well, like, so, okay. So when I open up Apple and I want to transfer my, like, I'm using my AirPods and I'm talking on the phone, but then, or I'm like FaceTiming on my phone, but I want to transfer to my iPad. Literally all I have to do is close, put my phone into sleep and open up my iPad, and it just knows to transfer the Bluetooth to the iPad, right? It's seamless,
okay.
right?
Okay. All right.
Um, but sometimes it doesn't work and it gets confused and it fails, and I just have to restart the call on my iPad, right?
Okay.
So
Uh-huh.
80% of the time it's seamless and everything works as expected, and then 20% of the
Okay.
time it fails and I have to, just restart the
Okay.
call. And
And
now
you're
that's a really minor example, but that's along the lines of what I'm
that's how
talking
that's your
about.
toleration. That's where your bar's set. Is
Hmm.
okay. I got you now. Okay. Hmm.
Right. Like my Apple Pencil, because of the way it's developed, it's basically always on, and it's
Yeah.
looking for, it basically turns on when you pick it up and start interacting with it. There's no way to manually
Hmm.
turn it on and off. Well, that's super convenient as long as I'm using it every day constantly, but I don't. It's more of a specialty tool that I only use for certain apps. But because of that, the battery's always bleeding. And so about 20% of the time I go to use it and the battery's dead because I've
It's
forgotten.
dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I have the
So
same issue with it. Yeah.
so but
Um.
but 80% of the time it's an invaluable tool, right? And then,
Mhm.
on the software side of things, like when I'm using my Apple Pencil, I wish I could 100% interact with my iPad with it, but you can't. Like, there's some things that you still need to do just using, use the your touch sensitivity with your fingers,
Mhm.
to get to, to make it function, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so but 80% of the time the Apple Pencil works the way I want it to, right? And so that's kind of what I'm talking about, right? Like it's
Okay.
not perfect because nothing ever can be, but it is about as perfect as I would expect it to be,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
But with Google's products right now, like I said, it's like 50/50. Every time Google successfully helps me avoid a all lane blockage on 75, um, I accidentally click on a sponsored link because their entire first page on their search
Mhm.
engine is all sponsored links now, and it takes me to
Yeah.
some random thing that I don't want.
Yeah.
Or their AI thing, which sometimes shows up and sometimes doesn't show up. Sometimes will give me some valid responses, and then sometimes just literally says absolute nonsense to me,
Yeah. Mhm.
right? And it's just like I don't even have the option to turn it off, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. No.
so it's like, you know, that's what I'm talking about, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So you're pretty much, your experience is 50% good, 50% bad with
yeah,
Google. Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah. I hear you with the Apple Pencil thing. I pick it up sometimes. So I'm usually, sometimes way back on some of our streams, I was using Nomad Sculpt to kind of, do some stuff
mm-hmm,
with tinsel.
mm-hmm,
Sometimes I want to just doodle something. Oh, my pen's dead.
right,
I
right.
mean, but it's not the worst thing in the world because it only takes a few minutes for it to
To
charge up to
charge up,
10% or something.
yeah,
It's not
exactly.
that bad.
No, it charges
But it
pretty
does kind of
fast.
stop you.
Yeah,
Yeah. But it
yeah,
does kind of
exactly.
stop you in the flow. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to
Mm-hmm.
write something down and you're inspired to write something down, you don't want to wait 10 minutes to charge something and then just start
Mm-hmm.
writing, right?
That's
Or
exactly right.
drawing, same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's
But
like writing and stuff
mhm,
like that.
yeah.
But yeah, like so that's kind of what I'm talking about. And frankly, like there's only a few large mass media companies or honestly large corporations that make consumer products that I feel even come close to the 80/20 threshold, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
I mean, I can count them on, I think I could probably count them on one hand, honestly, where I feel that 80% of the time what I'm looking for is um or what I'm looking for is delivered, where what my expectations
Mhm.
are is delivered, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I hear you on that.
but
But yeah, back to this original topic, which was Adobe.
yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't matter. I am 100% not happy with these guys, and
No,
I'm going to be,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, these guys. I'm going to even just to be symbolic. I'll probably even make a social media account just to write them a form letter that they send all of us. You
Yeah.
know, dear Adobe corporate. You know, we
Yeah.
will get to tell you that as me as a user, you know, I'll do all that kind of stuff just to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
petty.
yeah, yeah,
I'll do that for fun, but
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
But
I really like Photoshop. I really like Premiere and Audition and how easily they all integrate. They're not worth $70 a month, right? And that alone basically takes it to 0% good, 100% bad
hmm
because the
hmm
insane paywall completely invalidates the benefits of the software, you know. So
yeah,
it's Adobe at this point is 100% bad because of their pricing scheme.
yeah, and there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just
Yeah.
it's a shame. Um, and I remember using Photoshop, I think 3 in college back in the day. I didn't know it was going to turn into the behemoth that it is today.
Sure, sure.
But you know, there's nostalgia. There's nostalgia feels for ditching some software that you're so familiar with.
Right.
That's the thing that kind of bums me out, you know. But
Yeah, and I mean
yeah,
honestly, I'm not even opposed to paying a subscription to use Creative Cloud.
sure.
It's just my threshold for that. I think it's about $30 a month, not over
Yep.
double that, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
realistically more like $20 a month. But but yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to go as high as 30 for Creative Cloud, but not, I mean, it's just like it's
Yeah.
just
For that price,
ridiculous.
yeah, for that price, you're paying for an overpriced Nintendo Switch 2 game. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and in
exactly,
that case, I would
exactly.
actually pick the Nintendo Switch 2 game over that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So why Adobe? I mean, and again, using just Adobe Animate as my primary. Again, it's just my safe little clubhouse to
Hmm.
animate stuff. You know, but going back even the past few years we've been doing the stream, like, you know, setting up all these characters, you know, to for libraries and stuff like that. I mean, I'm gonna have to rethink that type of stuff
Yeah.
when we go over to Moho, but I'm willing to bite the bullet. I don't. That's fine. It's okay. I'll live.
Hmm.
We'll
Hmm.
survive,
Yeah.
and Climate
Yeah.
Jane will survive as well. So it'll be
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll be fine.
Yeah. Um, I was going to talk to you about Stellar Blade. I've
Yeah.
been playing that, and I've been impressed with it. It's a good game. I mean,
Hmm.
speaking about this 80/20 thing, let's going back to our time well spent. This game is probably I would rank worth your time, worth your money. I would say if you can get on sale, there's definitely an 8
Oh
if you get
wow.
on sale.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
um, for the just mainly because of the artistry about how it's done. UI UX could be debatable as to what's easier, what's not. But so far for me, I think even a casual action RPG player would find some satisfaction in playing the game. It's very forgiving,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
also with it being I think Sony. I think this is one of the Sony, you know, first party games, and I've noticed with the Sony lately, they really put difficulty kind of way low. Like
Mm.
with God of War, they don't really care. You can set it to easy and still go through the game.
Hmm. Hmm.
This game is just like that. There's that whole general uh, edict that I feel like Sony kind of puts on their games when they release them that just dumb it down to where you can play it the way you want to.
Yeah, yeah.
So overall, though, I've been impressed with it so far. 8 out of 10, I'd say. It's
Cool.
pretty high. I know, seven, maybe seven, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm feeling eight.
Wow.
So so
Well,
far so good.
I mean, I have a confession to make. I have really, really loved Tears of the Kingdom.
I know
Um,
it's weird, man. I mean, you were talking about this last week too.
I am at over 100 hours on it now. In two
Wow.
weeks, I've put in 100 hours into the game. And I could go and fight the final boss now. I'm at that point where it's like the mission objective is literally says something like all that's left is to talk to so and so and go to the final encounter. Like that's literally what the main mission objective is. But I've just
Uh huh.
been moving around the underworld area, finding light roots and sussing out where the last of the shrines are, and um it's and so much of it is the last time we talked about it, and it's what is keeping me playing it, because all of the things that I disliked about Breath of the Wild are still there.
Yeah.
um
So you're telling it's a. I'm just impressed, just as a outsider, that
yeah,
it has all the same ingredients that the first one had, but yet it resonates with you
yeah,
to where you put 100 hours into it. That's
yeah. I
crazy.
mean, like the all of the powers that you have in this one are just, they're more fun to use than
Hmm.
in Breath of the Wild, and there is actually some semblance of progression. So, like we talked about in Breath of the Wild, once you finished one of the kind of crappy temples, and all the dungeons and temples in this game are all terrible as well. It's just go
Okay.
here, flips this switch, now rinse and repeat 4 times, right? They're really boring.
Okay.
They're bad. But when you complete it, you get the sage's power, and unlike Breath of the Wild, where you could use one of those sage's powers once every like 10 or 15 minutes, um, you can use these powers over and over and over again with and they're on like a 5 to 10 second cooldown, right?
Okay.
Um, and it's a real game changer because it actually opens up the game in ways like it allows you to fly farther, or it allows you to break down walls, or take on, it has like an area effect, right? The last character you unlock is an actual robot that you can ride and equip different weapons to, right? um
Hmm.
and in all 5 of these characters, they run around with you in the world, which can get a little hectic at times, so you can turn them on and off as you desire, which is pretty cool. And so yeah, it really is all about the toys that you get to play with. It changes my entire perception of it. The weapon breaking is still annoying, and it is still frustrating to take on. I just finished a really long section with a huge amount of combat, and it basically
Mhm.
depleted my entire weapon supply, right? And I've
Wow.
expanded
Okay.
my weapon supply inventory slot like almost to the maximum at this point. And it's still, there were so many enemies, and they're all so high level now. It just burned through almost all of my weapons. Um
Okay.
and it's still, that sucks. It's bad design. And I usually try to give grace to people and acknowledge that people's opinions are different, and what you like is yours, and there is no real right and wrong. Anybody who
Mhm.
likes this system is just wrong objectively. I will brook no other reply. It is it is one of my least favorite combat design decisions in any video game ever. um but I will say that the game is easier than Breath of the Wild. They
Huh.
tone the difficulty way down. Um, I don't have any evidence because I haven't done any timing, but it feels like the parry windows for the shield, it's a little bit more generous. The
Hmm.
flurry attack timing is a little bit more generous. It's not easy, but it's actually doable by me. I couldn't In Breath of the Wild, I could never do it. I could never pull off either one. And in this one, I'm able to do it a little bit better.
Hmm.
Um uh um and so yeah, so the combat's slightly easier, the bosses are slightly easier, um, and the toys that you get to play with are incredibly fun, and the world is literally twice as big as the first game because they added the entire underworld section,
Okay.
which is not as fully realized as the main environment, but it is still interesting to navigate nonetheless.
So playing this one, Tears of the Kingdom, do you actually have the original map as well, or is that sort of just kind of sectioned off? You don't need to go there anymore.
No, the original map is still there. They've
Okay.
redesigned parts of it,
Oh, okay.
but it's for the most part, and it's there were a couple of times where you could tell that the designers expected you to remember things from Breath of the Wild that I didn't
Yeah.
remember, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I was like, I don't understand what I'm supposed to do here. And then I look it up, and the guide is sort of like, and if you remember from Breath of the Wild, I'm like, well, no, I don't remember from Breath of the Wild. Um, uh, um, so the overworld is like, I'd say 80% similar to the first game. It's about 80/20. It's about 20% different from the first game, in my estimation.
Hmm.
But then you've
Hmm.
got this whole like a bunch of floaty islands in the air, which are pretty sparse,
Hmm.
but there's some fun stuff to do up there. And then again, the entire underworld, which is it's basically the upside down. So the topography
Okay.
of the main world is completely inverted. So
Hmm.
a mountain in the overworld is a valley in the underworld, right? Um, and
Okay.
and it's interesting, like it was a real fun aha moment for me when I realized how the underworld was structured relative to the overworld, and it was like, oh, I understand how this works. And then all of a sudden I was able to
Yeah, then that was a
explore
nice little
it. Yeah, so it was
yeah,
a
that's
nice
pretty
little
cool.
aha moment. um but yeah, I mean, like the UX is still terrible. The inventory management is still absolutely appalling. Hate every second that I have to interact with it, and you interact with it constantly.
Hmm.
The armor system is ridiculous. Um, like you are constantly having to switch your armor. It's like, oh, back to a cold environment again, gotta put on my cold armor. Up, back to a hot environment again, gotta put on my hot armor. Up, climbing up a wall, gotta put on my climbing armor. Up, time for combat, gotta remember to put on my combat armor. Like
Oh, jeez,
it's so
man.
stupid,
I
and
don't
it's
I don't know if I can. I can't, man. That
yeah.
sounds tedious,
Yeah,
you
and
know?
it's
But
unchanged from Breath of the Wild. Like
oh,
you have to do that in Breath of the Wild, and you still have to do it in Tears of the Kingdom. Items, every item in the game is glass, right? It breaks within seconds of having it, and so you're just constantly collecting junk. And but the difference though is what set apart, that aspect apart from Breath of the Wild. And I'm not, it's still bad and it still shouldn't happen, but the weapon fusing basically kind of lets you take a bad weapon and make it more powerful. So you can take two crappy weapons and
hmm.
increase
Hmm.
their power by fusing things onto it, right? And so
Okay.
it's not quite as devastating to get a crappy weapon, um, because you can fuse things onto it that raises its power. And so you're less like reluctant to break a sword as you were in Breath of the Wild, because it's just like I'm not as worried about, like, well, I don't want to use a super powerful weapon because what if I have to fight the super powerful enemy, but I've used up my super powerful weapon, and I only have weak crappy weapons left, right? Because you can fuse things to weapons, it's not as bad. Still a horrible
Hmm.
system. Master Sword feels completely worthless. Honestly, you know what I use the Master Sword mostly for is breaking rocks in the game.
That's so sad.
Because yeah, because using a regular sword to break rocks actually causes damage to the weapon. And
Oh,
so
jeez.
you can, if you use weapons to break rocks, then you can fight enemies with it for less time. um
Hmm.
so I just use the Master Sword to break rocks until it's out of energy, and then I'll use a regular weapon to break rocks. And breaking rocks is a big deal in Breath of the Wild and in Tears of the Kingdom. So yeah, basically I just use the Master Sword to break rocks. That's the only thing I use it for.
I mean,
Because
how
yeah,
far has the Master Sword fallen at this
yeah,
point? You know,
right. It's
for that to be the
basically
use.
yeah,
Oh
it's basically
man.
worthless. And then like 10 minutes later, it recharges, and then I can break rocks with it again. But that's the only thing I use it for at this point. Um, if I happen to be fighting an enemy and it happens to still have charge, then yeah, I'll use
Mhm.
it to fight an enemy. But generally speaking, 90% of the time, I'm just breaking rocks with it. Um, it's just that bad, you know. So the armor system is terrible. The weapon breaking is terrible. The inventory management is terrible. Like three of
Mhm.
the worst designed things ever, in my opinion, as particularly for a Zelda game. But every other aspect of the game I like. Well, I
I don't know
mean,
if it's enough for,
the
you
story and the
know.
cutscenes are garbage, but whatever, who cares? It's a video game.
Yeah, yeah. Um, did you upgrade that for Switch 2 too? Do you have to buy
I did
the
get the Switch
upgrade?
2 version. Well, I didn't own the Switch 1 version, so I just bought the Switch
Oh,
2 version.
okay. Yeah, I'm a little confused about it because I have the deluxe whatever upgrade pack they've got for the NSO, you know, the
Yeah,
on Nintendo Switch Online.
yeah.
But then I was looking the other day just for fun to see Breath of the Wild. Can I actually do the Switch 2 version? But I think they still charge you $10. But I thought
Yes,
I can't remember if you
the
and I have
upgrade
talked
to the
about
Switch
that.
2 version, if you have the
You
Switch
still have
1
to
version, you
pay.
still have to pay $10 to get the Switch 2 version.
So lame.
Yeah.
Back to corpo stuff,
Yeah,
but
I know.
whatever.
Everything comes full circle. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Um, yeah, well, maybe we could talk more about Breath of the Wild next week as well, you're pretty
Yep.
much done, so now you can kind of give a full
I'll probably
review.
by next Monday, I think I'll probably go ahead and beat the final boss and then make the decision if I want to keep
Mhm.
exploring the world. But yeah, I am shocked to acknowledge that I have, despite all of the things that I hated about the first game, still being in
It's
this one,
no,
the
I'm
amount of good in it far outweighs the bad.
man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, something to keep in mind. I think overall, I think we're in really good shape for tonight. I actually am
Okay.
surprised how far we got, but
Nice.
Sally pretty much is pulling out the bowl and
Oh wow.
getting ready to
Nice.
handing it over to Calamity Jane.
Very
So I
cool.
mean,
Very cool. It's looking good.
I gotta have her set up with a mouth pack, so maybe I'll work on that next week. We'll
Mm-hmm.
see. Um, but yeah, as far as our goal went from that sketch version to her pretty much being animated and getting ready to hand stuff over to Calamity Jane and have her eat stuff.
Great.
So the bowl looks like it's changed of color. I'll have to update that later.
Yeah.
But other than that,
Yeah.
it's
The
pretty small
minor
stuff.
bugs. Yeah. Yeah.
Minor bugs.
Yeah.
We're good. We're good for
Excellent.
tonight, I think.
Well, we'll wrap it up there then. Yeah, just YouTube, Facebook, just search for Calamity Jane, Patreon, CalamityJane.rocks, and Instagram, Calamity Jane Salamander. It's pretty easy. Just search for Calamity Jane with a K, and you'll find us. But in the meantime, I think we'll be back next week on Monday. And until then,
Good night.